a.m. I couldn't get fuel until about 12 noon.
Speaker Abbas congratulates Tinubu on his re-election as ECOWAS chairman. Hello and welcome to the News Desk at 6 on NTA News24. We are live in Abuja. Thanks for joining us. I am Vivian Izadifi. Leadership of the Non-Academic Staff Union of Universities, NASU, and the Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, SANU, have directed their members across the country to mobilize for a nationwide protest. A joint statement by the General Secretary of NASU and the National President of SANU, Peter Zademi and Mohammed Ibrahim, said the unions have decided on a series of industrial actions following the failure of the federal government to address their concerns. In the studio here, we are joined virtually by the President of the Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Mohammed Haruna Ibrahim, and he will be giving us more insight into their plight. Glad to have you on the news at 6, sir.
Thanks for having me, Vivian.
Okay, sir. So why is your union embarking on a nationwide strike despite all promises and dialogues held with government to avert the strike? Can you recall some of the pressing issues?
Well, it's a long story, but for the benefit of our viewers, is just to say that we recorded deadlock in our discussions with government. Deadlock in the sense that all promises made to us by the Federal Ministry of Education, have not been made to see the light of the day. I recall that in October last year, the president of this country, President Bola Tinubu, approved a waiver to pay the withheld salaries of university workers. And in March this year, our counterparts in the academics were paid 4 months. And all the other three unions, NASU, SANU, and NAT, were conspicuously, omitted. And when we complained, it was said to us that it was an omission. So they were going to post a letter to the president to ask for an approval. So, and we went on a warning strike for 1 week. And after appeals from well-meaning Nigerians and the federal government, we suspended. And from March till date, this is getting to 4 months, nothing has happened. And our members are really agitated. And we again wrote and gave 2 weeks ultimatum, which elapsed on Friday at midnight. On Thursday at midnight. And the Federal Ministry of Education, through the two ministers and the permanent secretary, invited us for a discussion. We came, and they told us that the memo has been written to the president, and it has been in the villa since March. So the only other way we felt we will let the world know and also draw the attention of government and Mr. President is to raise our voices through, this idea of staging protests across the country. And then if nothing is done after a week, we have to do a grand protest in Abuja, converging here in Abuja, inviting all our members from all over the country. So this is where we are as of today.
Okay, are there no other means of resolving this issue instead of embarking on a strike action? But you remember the no work, no policy still stands. Since the federal government got the nod of the courts, therefore protesting can be termed null and void by the federal government. Should the action be just an appeal instead of a threat?
Well, I think you also need to understand that the labor laws also grants us our ability to withdraw our services where payments are not made. So if talking about no pay, there's also no pay, no public is that the waiver and action has been taken. So it is a group of staff that have been left out of this payment. And we felt this is a clear injustice and that this is a government of democracy. And we felt that there won't be any need to immediately go on strike, but to raise our voices to protest. And where the protest fails, of course, we will have no other option than to withdraw our services by going on an indefinite strike.
All right, sir. That's the much we can take on this. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome, sir. Moving on to other matters now, motorists in Abuja are lamenting the long productive hours spent on petrol queues in search of petrol. Correspondent Lydia Sampson reports that a visit to most petrol stations in Abuja indicate most petrol stations are still battling queues with motorists lamenting. According to some of them, what began suddenly last week is not abating.
I left home very early, as early as 4 a.m. I couldn't get fuel until about 12 noon. That was yesterday.
Nothing has improved because when he started, there are more filling stations selling fuel. But the way he's looking at almost all the filling stations that were selling on Friday and Saturday, most of them are out of fuel.
It's also frustrating that they have to queue for over 3 hours before they can buy petrol, while some stations have even shut down.
There is no any official statement from the government or NNPC what is happening.
I don't know the cause. I was even asking the fuel attendants. He said he does not even know as well. So I was even asking him, is he panic buying or what? He said he doesn't know. So I really don't even have an idea.
They are appealing for government and stakeholders' intervention towards restoring normalcy. The NNPC Limited is attributing the fuel queues in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, and some parts of the country to disruption of ship-to-ship transfer of petrol between mother vessels and daughter vessels resulting from recent thunderstorm. A statement from Olufemi Soneye, Chief Corporate Communications Officer, NNPC Limited, says the adverse weather condition has also affected berthing at jetties, truck loadouts and transportation of products to filling stations, causing a disruption in station supply logistics. The NNPC Limited also stated that due flammability of petroleum products and in compliance with the Nigerian Meteorological Agency (NIMET) regulations, it was impossible to load petrol during rainstorms and lightning. In adherence to these regulations, the NNPC Limited says it's mandatory as any diversion could pose severe danger to the trucks, filling stations and human lives. Similarly, the development, according to the Chief Corporate Communication Officer, was compounded by the consequential flooding of truck routes, which has constrained movement of petroleum from the coastal corridors to the federal capital, Abuja. The NNPC Limited says it's working with relevant stakeholders to resolve the logistics challenges and restore seamless supply of petrol to affected areas. Already, loading has commenced in areas where these challenges have subsided, and stakeholders are hoping the situation will continue to improve in the coming days and full normalcy will be restored. The NNPC also calls on motorists to avoid panic buying and hoarding petroleum products. Nigerians have been enjoined not to see the Kenyan protests as a model, rather adopt consultation and dialogue as a means for crisis management. Former Director, Defense Information Major General and the Board Director of Crisis Management and Communication Center, Chris Olukolade, who stated also expressed concern over the prevalence of fake news, hate speech, and misrepresentation of government programs and policies.
Escalation of violent rhetorics and posturing by some political, religious, and community leaders, and even non-state actors alike, have the potential to turn violent conflict and aggravate the already worrisome internal security challenges. The Center is also concerned about the antics of those that are rooting for the idea of reenacting the anti-tax crisis that happened in Kenya. Those who believe that such destructive protests in Nigeria will be a way to resolving our crisis are rather calling for what is not consistent with our future and desire for a peaceful and progressive nation.
Similarly, stakeholders appeal to Nigerians to partner governments in controlling food prices and provide information to overcome in the fight against insecurity. Leadership of the Nigerian Senate says Nigeria is open for business to investors, especially in the power, education, construction, and other key sectors critical to economic development. The Deputy President of the Senate, Barrow Jibrin, made the assertion during an engagement with a group of Chinese investors. The National Assembly, he added, is committed to making legal provisions that will enhance business regulations and operations in Nigeria for mutual benefits.
It is endowed with solid mineral, petroleum, gas, and so on and so forth. So you have made the best decision by coming into Nigeria. The entire national focus, the #1 priority we have now, is that of getting self-sufficiency in energy.
The delegation comprises representatives from 8 administrative and business entities from Qingdao, China, were at the National Assembly to seek collaboration on furthering the long-standing trade and economic cooperation between the two countries. The chairman of the Standing Committee of Qingdao Municipal People's Congress, Wang Lungning, spoke through an interpreter.
One of another purpose is to strengthen the cooperation in the vocational education and the talents training. In Qingdao, we have a very famous company which is called Sunmaker Energy. They have invested a lot in African countries, including in Nigeria. And today we also have the Director General of Qingdao Municipal Education Bureau with us. We would like to strengthen the cooperation in education, in vocational education area, and also the techniques and skills training.
Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas congratulates President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on his re-election as the chairman of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. Speaker Abbas says President Tinubu's re-election as ECOWAS chairman is a testament of his commitment to the growth and development of the sub-region, as well as an affirmation of confidence in him among member states. The Speaker notes that in the past 1 year, the President has demonstrated good leadership in uniting members of ECOWAS, especially when leadership instability characterized some member states. Speaker Abbas wishes President Tinubu another successful tenure as the chairman of ECOWAS. This is the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. More reports in a moment. Stay with us.
From the creeks of the Niger Delta to the breathtaking scenery of the plateau, in noonday and nighttime, we set out to bring to you captivating stories that evoke your emotions. For fascinating documentaries and reports on day-to-day issues with expert analysis, tune in to NTA News24, DSTV Channel 419, GoTV Channel 26, StarTimes Channel 101 and 433, and Free TV Channel 703.
Many thanks for being there. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, has inaugurated a mobile police base built by Hyperdeck in Kakuruk, Kashik district of Barkin-Ladi, local government area of Plateau State. He restated the commitment of the federal government to enhancing the operational efficiency of the police force. Ijoma Ozemena has more.
The establishment of a mobile police base in Kakruk by Hyperdeck follows rampant communal crisis and insecurity in the community. For Hyperdeck, the remodeling of the police base has become necessary to enhance security and improve the quality of life of police officers.
Our mission to remodel and reconstruct the police barracks in Kakuru was born out of a genuine concern for the well-being and operational efficiency of our dedicated police officers serving in this region.
Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akumi, was full of gratitude to the Commission for carrying out quality job and restates the commitment of government to ensuring adequate protection of lives and property of citizens.
With these newly established facilities, our police officers will be better equipped to uphold the law and order and foster a conducive environment for the residents of Karukuk to live.
Governor Caleb Mutfan, represented in a message to the event, lauded Hyperdeck for the initiative, saying the gesture will go a long way to complement the efforts of the state government in peace building.
The security forces here to return peace to the community, we also have to start making concerted efforts at returning the people that have been displaced to their ancestral homes.
We shall work with the Inspector General of Police and the Police Service Commission to ensure that the personnel posted here are given all the conducive environment and the welfare to perform their duties.
The sum of 469 million naira was expended on the project. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemena, NTA News.
The federal government has urged to come up with technical committees that will help the Presidential Economic Coordination Council produce blueprints of sector specifics to proactively improve and impact the economy in line with their mandates. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria also believe expansion of the committee to capture the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, NACIMA, is key. Lydia Sampson reports.
As Nigeria continues battling high inflation, economic experts are suggesting operating businesses with a global mindset to mitigate international partners and businesses leaving the country. They decried what they called instability in Nigeria's business environment, making it difficult for businesses to plan. They are urging the Presidential Economic Coordination Council to be proactive rather than reactive towards policies.
It's good to have a broad set of people there who can immediately impart the policies so that I can actually bring the views of their members and how they are affected. If not, we are going to have a situation again where people just go there. They only think of the few people that have been selected there, and the impact is not total.
In supporting what he's doing now as a new project, let us now look for those programs that were already in place to support agricultural development, to support health development, to support national security, and what happened to them.
While suggesting that the Coordination Council carries key players along in a transparent manner, the guests advised that while starting new initiatives, laudable ones started by their predecessors should not be abandoned, describing this as a major setback, making investors lose focus.
All that is being produced or promoted here in terms of the various economic plans that we have, the most important thing is to ensure that there is inclusion. We are ensuring that as many people as possible can benefit from it. We will reduce poverty by whatever we do. We have to ensure that we reduce poverty, and like I said earlier, we must promote employment in whatever we do. So in that, it means we must have national interest first and foremost.
The guests urge businesses across all sectors to prioritize national interests to grow the economy. They believe poverty reduction, job creation, and tackling food security, as well as ensuring local generation and distribution of electricity, are panacea to overall realization of the Council's mandate. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Stakeholders are calling for urgent regional cooperation and synergy among governments, security agencies and citizens to combat the worsening insecurity in the Sahel region. This is at a conversation by the West African Democracy Radio in Abuja under the theme, providing quality and relevant information, a counter-narrative on the security situation in the Sahel. Takwa Alabi has more.
The Sahel region stretches from Mauritania to Sudan and is home to about 150 million people. The crisis in the Sahel is deepening, and in 2024, some 17 million people in Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger, about 1/5 of the population, need humanitarian assistance and protection. In recent months, there has been an increase in the number of displaced persons to around 5 million. This conversation is part of the Open Society Foundation's Africa Security and Rights Project to emphasize the need to focus on the countries deeply affected by insecurity within the sub-region. Discussants, including the station manager of the West Africa Democracy Radio in Dakar, Senegal, Agnes Thomarsi, believes the fundamental goal is to essentially contribute constructively to the peace-building process across the African continent.
In 2022, we implemented the first phase with special focus on the governance aspect of security in our region, covering Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, and Nigeria. The second phase, also with the same countries, is to further look at the various aspects with emphasis on a narrative that is truly African and by an African media with African experts.
There are conversations on the need to address the root causes such as poverty, unemployment and corruption. Participants, however, want intelligence sharing, building local security capacities and promoting inclusive governance as critical strategies to mitigate insecurity in the Sahel.
Central African Republic, Sudan, Somaliland, all of those places, their political culture, their understanding of the dynamics of governance have been defined and influenced by armed insurrection and non-state armed actors.
So the Sahel acts as a crucial buffer zone, providing security shield not only for Nigeria and other African nations, but also for Europe and Middle East.
There are expectations that there will be solidarity among nations in the Sahel, and international partners will assist in addressing the complex security landscape in the West African region. In Abuja, Tokbe Alabi, NTA News.
This is the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. Before we go, here is a quick look at our major stories. Strike action by University Union emanates as unions called to begin nationwide strike Tuesday following recent uncompromised dialogue with government. Motorists and commuters groaned as fuel scarcity bites harder and the search for petrol persists.
I left home very early, as early as 4 a.m. I couldn't get fuel until about 12 noon.
Speaker Abbas has congratulated Tinubu on his re-election as ECOWAS chairman. President Bola Tinubu has paid tribute to late Alhaji Sarjuddin Tokunbo Ayelara, whom he describes as a trusted associate, friend, brother and dependable partner. The late Alhaji Ayelara worked in the military administration of Colonel Buba Marwa as sole administrator of Agege local government. Later rose to become a permanent secretary in Lagos State Civil Service, and upon retirement was appointed special advisor in the governorship administration of Bola Tinubu in the state. President Tinubu, in a personally issued statement, says he first crossed paths with the deceased when he was elected governor of Lagos State, and acknowledges that Alhaji Ayelara lived a life of unwavering dedication, loyalty and service. President Tinubu, who says he, Lagos State, and anyone who knew the departed will not forget him, extends condolences to the government and people of Lagos State on the loss of the outstanding public servant. Late Alhaji Ayelara passed away on June 30th at 73. And that concludes the news desk at 6 on NTA News 24. Thanks for watching. I am Vivian Izadivi.